So I'm sitting there trying to figure out what our podcast needs to be today, right? We fell behind again. We were up like 4 podcasts deep, and a month ahead. I was feeling so proud of myself. I don't like it too far ahead. Then your podcast tends to feel a little sterile. Like, hey, it's too pre-programmed, it's too planned,
right?
And so I like to be more relevant to what's going on. And today is a good day for that. 'Cause I'm sitting here staring at the screen. What the heck are we going to talk about? I'm just completely blank because I'm like, why am I so frozen up here? And it's like, because it's been a crazy month. And so this idea of the chaos of October, like this, everything happens in October. It's like our biggest month for sales, usually. And it's also Cybersecurity Awareness Month. It's also when everybody's trying to get their QBRs like smooshed in, which is why it's a big month for us.
It's the first and in some aspects, the only month in Q3 or Q4. I'm saying Q4.
Yeah, it feels like the only month because in November hits, we got IT Nation in the second week of November. That sucks up an entire week. And then the week afterwards, you're recovering from IT Nation. And then the week after that, you're on Thanksgiving. So from a vendor standpoint, November pretty much doesn't exist. Yeah. And so it's a low month of the year. And so October is this chaos. And you're trying to get as much done as humanly possible. And it doesn't seem like October should be that busy. Like in the corporate world, October is not a busy month. It's like, I've got my government, we kick off our budget there, but it really doesn't really feel like you kicked off a budget. You just know that, hey, now we're going. Yeah. And it's just bland. What gets chaotic is towards mid-November in the corporate world. But in the small business world, it's October. And it sneaks up on you because you're not expecting October to be busy. You're like, okay, what holidays in October? Halloween. What's the big deal?
Right.
And I mean, you're prepping for, All Saints Day on November 1st. I mean, it's kind of a boring month when it comes to holidays.
Yeah.
So you don't think of October as being crazy. But the thing is, if you look at your schedule, you'll find that, holy crap, there's a lot going on and it's all unrelated. Cybersecurity Month has nothing to do with Q3 QB or Q4 QBRs, which has nothing to do with vacation time, which has nothing to do with the fact that everybody's trying to squeeze in their budgets right now. And so it's just a whole bunch of like very nebulous administrative activities.
Well, I think there's a bit of unawareness that compounds this problem. Is we get in our business being a software, a vendor, we're technology focused though, so we're tied pretty closely to what's going on in MSPs. We can all see, hey, this is our time, this is our season. But I think the part that we're unaware of and we fail to realize sometimes is our clients are falling into this October chaos as well. Yeah. And so we're chaotic, they're chaotic, and the two just feed off of each other and turn into dumpster fires. So we've got to, one, at least be aware of, yes, it's chaotic and it's coming from more places than I have control over. And sometimes just understanding that, helps you line out your priorities and figure out what you want to do. But the real thing it needs to do is to motivate you for next October. Yeah. What are you going to do now and in the, following 11 months? So next October is not going to be as chaotic.
Well, that's why we do
that's hard. I mean, that's just
we do
hard.
our community updates, right? Like, I don't think about this stuff every day. Like what's the annual planning cycle look like? I look at the calendar and I plan out the entire 52 weeks in December. When everybody else is bored, I'm online in HubSpot building out that events calendar we observe that you can click on and see at our website. And then every week I go and say, what are we supposed to be talking about the community updates this week? And I'll look at the title. Oh, this week we're supposed to be on this. And I had used my brain. It spent like a good day or so building out that year and what are the important things to do and when, so that when the week comes up, I don't have to think about it. I just know I need to be on this topic this week because it pertains to X, Y, and Z. So 3 months ago, we were talking about Cybersecurity Awareness Month because we want to get everybody ready for
That's
it
right.
this
Yep.
month. You can take advantage of the free advertising that's going around.
Yep.
All your customers are getting hit and inundated with cybersecurity ads from the big vendors. You can take advantage of that now.
Yep.
So we don't really like try to think about what we're doing in October, but if you create a plan ahead of time, you can follow it and you can generally be prepared. Like, oh crap, October's coming up. This month is crazy. And well, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm kind of listening to, you and what I just said. And, I said, it's hard, and I get it. It's hard. But part of, maybe I'm growing here a little bit. Part of my brain pops up and goes, no, it's not hard. That first step, maybe, where you say, hey, I'm going to make a plan.
Yeah.
And you acknowledge that plan is not going to be perfect. You're not going to try to make it perfect, but you're going to lay out a plan. And so kind of getting over that hurdle of, hey, I'm going to get out of chaos mode and I'm going to get into some sort of, preparedness, some sort of planning, managerial mode. And that part might be hard. But after that, just like you said, Adam, I mean, you don't think about these events, for community updates and this regular scheduled stuff. It's already planned out. So those parts are really easy. And, for, the middle of next month, we're just following the play on the playbook. We made that years ago and we're just running the plan. So you made the hard work years ago, and that might have been hard. That might have taken some time, and you might have had to set, dedicated time box to do that. But once you did that, now we're running it and it's easy to do.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I had to walk back my statement there. It's not hard.
It doesn't have to be hard.
The deployment is easy.
It's perception of hard.
Yep.
I was just thinking about while you're talking there, I was like, what if, as Humanize IT, we publish a Google Calendar of activities? You get those, you subscribe to a calendar called birthdays or, like public events.
Yeah.
What if we had a Humanize IT calendar people could just subscribe to and be like, okay, here's the Humanize IT calendar for the year that we give thought to, just so you're on topic. So every week you're going to get a reminder, hey, this is going on this week. You need to be on top of things.
Yeah.
I don't know. I already have all the events planned. I just need to make the calendar, which means I have to do something, which is annoying.
The hard part, right? Which will make it easy for the next 12 months.
Implementation. Ideas are cheap. Implementation is hard. Or execution is hard. But, I tend to look organized and I tend to look professional because I have this calendar of events. People don't know that and my brain is just chaos. Every day is chaos. I finally got around to cleaning my desk of all the administrative mail I get every year. I just kind of put it in the pile of here. Oh, look, another, notice from DHHS or whatever on this or that. Oh, look, here's the physical receipt for our healthcare insurance. I don't need, it's not important. It's not urgent. And eventually I just need to shred it.
Yeah.
And so it sits there and these piles get huge, right? And then I literally had probably a 2-foot pile of mail to my left. I had a box of mail next to it. And on my desk, I probably had a good 8 inches of mail just stacked on the side. Mm-hmm. Now I can see my desk. It took me like 2 hours to get through it all.
Yep.
But it was
I've always
on my desk to do. The chaos of it just was piling up. How many things pile up every year because we don't schedule them throughout the year? If I would schedule out hey, once a month, I'm going to do this thing, I'd be fine. The same thing with my accountants. My accountants were yelling at me today because I haven't submitted my timesheets or not my timesheets, my bank receipts and everything for months now because we've been so busy with conferences.
Yep.
And because of that, they're like, okay, you're out of compliance. You need to get all this stuff in. So I spent all this week, I still have a couple more things to do, all this week watching really old 80s movies and just trying to get ahead of the chaos.
Yeah.
Because it is insane to let things pile up. So you have to have that plan throughout the year to lessen the chaos in October.
Yep. So for those of you who need, labels on things and, kind of organize just structures. So there is a category, there's a type. All right. So, and I know a lot of us do it. I've done it for decades now. It's called a flat filing system. All right. You get a document in, you lay it flat in the pile. That is a flat filing system. So just so you know have a moniker for your filing system. When someone asks you how you do your business, you can say, "Oh, I use the flat filing system."
Yeah. I use the pile.
No, that doesn't sound very professional. You need to call it a flat filing system because it sounds like you know what you're doing. You do, but
So in programming, there's something called a heap sort.
Yeah.
And so, you have this pile. I'm using a heap sort. And eventually divide the pile in half, You divide that pile in half, and then you eventually have this organizational system.
You're making me motivated, Adam. I have a little time this afternoon. I may tackle my my desk here. I'm looking around as you're talking, and I'm like, I got to do this.
Why didn't I do this earlier this year?
Yes.
I knew it needed to be done.
Yes.
And so if you look at the Eisenhower matrix, I talk about all the time in the community updates. And when I do like lectures and stuff, like, is it urgent? Is it important? Yeah. And the mail started becoming urgent because I was getting to the end of the year. And it was actually at a point in like June where I got noticed that one of my reimbursements from the IRS was delayed. But because it was in the pile, I missed it. So I actually, in June or July, I sorted through a big part of my pile trying to find these things. And it was great. Like I got some cleanliness to my system. And I found some other things like, oh, that's interesting. I actually found a check from like 2020. And it was because this client paid us via check. And I was like, they got like 2 or 3 checks from them. And somehow they had an error. So I kept it off to the side. And I never got noticed from them if I needed to shred it or how they wanted me to process it. But it's been in my stack for that long.
Yep.
And
so you mentioned the Eisenhower matrix, and we talk about that a lot. Stephen Covey kind of redid that and added to it. So I think some people are familiar with that. I forget what he calls it. He kind of put his own name on it. But back to my chaos and your clients are chaotic as well. I was at a conference last weekend. And so this is very non-technical sort of conference. It's meant to be more of a, I don't know, that it's really specific sort of deal, but it's a disorder. It was more of a psychology sort of conference. Long story. Won't share that all with y'all. But so I'm at this conference and they're talking about all these different things that we're dealing with, and they're utilizing the Eisenhower matrix in that. And there was a moment there I was like, wow, I talk about the Eisenhower matrix all the time. And here is this presenter in a what I see as a drastically different field of study and, profession. And they're utilizing the exact same terms, the exact same methodology. And I think that's where, just to kind of circle back, your clients are in this mess, but there's a connection between all of us in what we're doing. And so the chaos is not always going to be something that you can solve, but understanding it and being able to manage it is going to be something that you can do both for your company and your clients.
And I think, Skip, you've mentioned this before in some of our community updates, is right now, if you're suffering from the chaos of October, right? If it is not looking good for you and you're really annoyed with what's going on, here's what you need to do. You need to open up your calendar right now, click the button over to next August and remind yourself to get what done. What do you wish you would have done in July to make this month a little bit easier? Mm-hmm. So go to your calendar right now and flip over to July, August, somewhere over there, and put a reminder saying, clear your desk of mail.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to make your October a little easier. Maybe it's reach out to this client and get their budget done. Whatever it is that's causing stress right now, could you have done it a month earlier? Could you have done it 2 months earlier? When do you wish you would have done this thing?
Yeah.
And put it on your calendar for next year as a reminder, like, hey, Monday at 3:00, you're going to sort the mail on your desk in July. Don't think, man, next year I'm going to get this on top of this. No, you get on top of it today.
Yes.
You make the decision today to take action and make that action a time-boxed event. When will you do what is the core thing? When will you sort your mail next year? When will you do your QBR with a client next year? And so you're going to put a day and a time on that. And so that you next year are doing yourself a future. Do your future self a favor and make a plan today or take action today so that your future self can be a lot happier.
Well, and let me bring it back into your clients again. When you make those calendar events for the QBR, I'm going to have a QBR with that client that, is difficult. I mean, I like them. They pay us a lot of money, but it's just challenging dealing with them. Right? We all have those clients. And one of the challenges may be getting those people engaged. From my perspective, when I say put that event on the calendar, it's just not my calendar. I'm putting it on their calendar. And I don't ask them, hey, is this date okay? I put it out there, but I do it far enough in advance that rather than having an email exchange of, hey, when can we meet? What's a good time and all this? We're now having an event calendar exchange. Hey, I proposed this date. You said it wasn't good. All right. Well, there's a tool in there. Give me a date that will work. Right. Yes. And now, we're committing to doing this. It's what did you say a minute ago? Ideas are really easy or really cheap.
Ideas are cheap.
Ideas are cheap.
It's hard.
So if you just have a reminder, that's kind of the cheap route. Go ahead, invest a little bit more in that and make that an actual, group event, get the attendees on there. And there's a really high likelihood that date's going to change. That's okay. We're still talking about a date and not an idea of, we're going to meet. No, we've already decided that. What date are we going to meet on? So
someday never happens.
That's it. Someday never happens.
And that's why we get to these Octobers where the Eisenhower matrix starts dominating your schedule. Those things that were important that you didn't schedule will eventually become urgent. For one way or another. Things that are important will eventually become urgent. You can control when they become urgent, or life can. And that is a core lesson you need to learn. If you take that to heart, you can now get things done and you can take control of your life and your business because now you're getting ahead of things. Now you're saying, this is important. It'll become urgent next October. So I want to make sure I get it done in July. So put it on your calendar. I'm going to invite Skip to a meeting next July. We're going to do this so that it's done. Now, when October rolls around and the normal chaos happens, you are less chaotic and more prepared.
Yep.
And that happens through deliberate energy, that you are making a plan and following a plan.
Yep.
So I give this advice all the time, even to my kids. Like if you don't make a plan, life will do it for you.
That's true.
That's where people say, well, I have really bad luck. Nothing ever good goes my way. Like, that's because you don't have a plan. You let life determine your direction. You let the whims of fate determine your direction. And guess what? Fate's cruel.
Yes.
Life is mean. Like,
life is not fair. Yes.
Yeah. Life is not fair. If you just kind of coast along and just wait for the first opportunity to come in front of you and you take it, that is just going with whims. You might have a successful business because you're consistently just good at delivering product. But again, you're at the fate of whatever comes to your doorstep. Somehow you got stuck doing attorney's offices because you did not have a plan to do dental offices or do medical offices or to do schools. You didn't deliberately push in that direction. So now you've got this portfolio of clients you don't want to do business with because they're just not a good mix for you, but it happened to be what you fell into.
Yep. Well, and if you're drowning, it's really hard for you to save someone else or help someone else who's also drowning.
Yes.
Right. And if you can get a handle on your chaos, then next October, you're going to be in a great position to help your clients' chaos. And they're going to see you as valuable. I mean, you were able to come in, you pulled us out of that. It's not a technical problem necessarily, but it's a way that you came in and helped bring structure to at least a part of their chaos. And when they see that, they're like, that makes us a better company. We're a better company because we're working with this MSP. It's not that, hey, this MSP gives us a great price on PCs. No, it's we're a better company because these guys are our partners. That's where you want to be. That's the goal. It's not selling more PCs. It's being that real value partner because there's money in that value.
Yeah. So there's an old saying, manage your own house. Manage your own house well. And that's how you become a leader. So look at how your MSP is run. If it's run really well, you can help somebody else run theirs. You can lead. Manage your own home, your own personal life really well so that you can manage your company well.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just an old saying. And it's an old proverb, and you need to be able to take that to heart because that's how you get organized. That's how you walk into an October, a December with a plan because you managed your time well throughout the year, and now you're reaping the benefits. Now you can help other people manage their time well, and they can reap the benefits. Yep. It's a great positive cycle you can get into. So if you're finding yourself just being smacked upside the head with the chaos of October, go in, fix it by becoming organized in July. Yeah. Right now, go in, adjust your calendar, add some events to it that are going to help your next October become really, really smooth, or at least less chaotic.
That's it.
I like this topic. I'm glad we kind of stumbled across it. It's just, looking at our own house, like, man, I really need to clean up this mess. How many other people are in this mess too? Let's talk about it in a podcast.
There we go.
So thank you, Skip, for coming on today, and we'll see you all next week.
All right. See y'all.